Hello, MacArthur Stars. It is Mrs. Price, and I'm going to show you how to do your project for this week. You should have already watched the read aloud of The Dot, the movie or the book The Dot, and listen to the song that goes with the book The Dot. All right, so a new vocabulary word for this project is concentric circles. Concentric circles. Concentric circles are circles that have the same center, and most of the time they get bigger, or if we start out big, they get smaller, but the center is the same. The center is the same, okay? All right, so think of this kind of like a bullseye. All right, so concentric circles. Okay, for this project, you will need a piece of paper, any color, it doesn't matter. If you have white, you can use white. If you have colored paper, you can use colored paper. You're going to need scissors. You're going to need glue. And if you want, towards the end, I'll show you, you can decorate with markers, colored pencils, crayons, your choice. Okay, all right, so I found some colored paper in my stash. So I just grabbed a few colors, okay? And if you have colored paper, you can use colored paper. If you don't have colored paper, then just use white. That's totally fine. And you can decorate your white paper, and I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. Okay, so we are going to cut circles. Now, again, don't worry about them being perfect, okay? And I'm gonna show you a little trick. I'm gonna take, this paper is pretty thin. So if your paper is thick, if you have construction paper, you might want to just do a couple pieces of paper at a time, but this paper is pretty thin, so I feel comfortable that I can cut through all of them. So I'm not even gonna draw out my circle. I'm just gonna take my scissors and I'm going to cut a circle or a dot, whatever you want to call it, okay? So now, instead of having to cut 5 circles out, I now have, with one cut, I have 5 circles, okay? All right, so then I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to cut out a different size circle. I'm going to cut out a smaller one. Okay, and so I'm gonna cut out different sizes of circles, and I'll meet you back here in just a minute. Okay, so I have cut out 4 different sizes of circles. You can cut out as many as you want. It's totally up to you, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to glue these circles on top of each other. So if you just have white paper, you can color your paper with crayons or markers and make it color paper, or you can decorate them. Remember the dot, all different kinds of dots. You can do different dots on each paper to make them different. That would be totally fine too, okay? All right, so I'm gonna take my bigger pieces and I'm gonna glue them onto my background paper, and I just, there's the green. I just glued that backwards, but I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna leave it. I thought it was green on both sides. Oh well, okay. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, be careful, like what I just did right there. Probably a good idea to glue off of your paper instead of gluing right on it, like I just did. Sometimes this glue shows up. Most of the time it dries clear, but not always. Okay, so I'm gonna put my different colors just randomly on my background paper. If you want to overlap, go for it. That would be totally fine too. In fact, I think I might do it on this one. I think I might overlap right there. Okay. All right, so then I'm gonna take my next size and I'm going to pick a contrasting color, which means I don't want to put my yellow on top of yellow because I can't see it. Now, if you only have white paper, what you can do is take your markers and do dots on this one, however you want to do it. And then do different color dots on the next size. And you might even do and then when you glue this one on top of that one, you can see the difference, okay? So if you don't have color paper, that's okay. That's how we get around that. You can decorate it with dots. All right, so I am going to glue down my next size on a contrasting color, a different color, okay? Now if I end up with the same color on one, it's okay, it's no big deal. All right, so I'm gonna continue doing this till I have all my sizes glued. I'll see you back here in a minute. We have our concentric circles and our dots. Now, at this point, if you are happy with it, you can leave it as is. If you want to add more to it, you can grab your markers or your crayons or your colored pencils, or even if you have paint, you can use paint, and you can add to your circles if you want to, okay? It is your project. You can do as you please, okay? If you want to add smaller dots, go for it, okay? All right, so I can't wait to see your projects. Have fun.